Hello everyone, I am P. Umesh Reddy. In this video, we will be discussing about intents and some external examples like dialer, Google Maps, and camera. So let's dive into the topic. So hello everyone. So in this video, firstly we will be discussing about what is meant by an intent and some external examples like dialer, camera, and maps where intent is used. So, firstly, the introduction about the intent. Android uses intent for communicating between the components of an application and also from one application to another application. Considering a real example, we have an application contacts and another application WhatsApp. So if we are going to save a number in the contact application, the same number we can view in the WhatsApp itself also. So there is a communication and sharing of data between two different applications. So there comes intent into the picture. These intents are the objects which is used in Android for passing the information among activities in an application and from one app to another. Intents are used for communicating between the application components and it also provides the connectivity between two apps. Basically, there are two types of intents in Android. First one is implicit intent, and the next one is explicit intent. Implicit intent is also known as external communication, and the explicit intent is also known as internal communication. So, in this video, we will be discussing about implicit intent, which is also known as external communication. So the implicit intents, they do not specify a target component. Instead, they generally declare an action to perform. And the Android system finds the best suited app or the component to handle it. So the main features of the implicit intent is there is no specific class unlike explicit intent. And this implicit intent is used for actions like sending emails, opening a web page, dialing a number, viewing a photo, or viewing a place in a map, and etc. Android uses intent filters declared in the manifest file to match suited apps or components. So now let's see a small explanation about intent filters. So, what are these intent filters in Android? When we use an implicit intent, Android needs to figure out which app or component can handle the user request in a better way. So, this is done through intent filters. And an intent filter defines the types of intents an activity, service, or broadcast receiver can respond to. These are declared in the Android manifest.xml file of the app. So nextly, we'll see the flow chart, how the implicit intent works. Firstly, we'll be in a screen or an activity A. Thereon, we create an intent with some action. For example, opening a web page, it is an action. So the implicit intent and attaching data optional. For example, the web page is a school web page, so there we are defining the URL. So that is an action view, and the data which we are setting for a uniform resource identifier is the link of the organization, and we are starting the intent, and the target component activity B we are getting. So let's take an example how to open a web page and the basic syntax of implicit intent. So the first one is val. It's a keyword and the type of the intent is val, which is equals to intent of intent.action view. This action view, it's a predefined function which tells that we are going to view something and the intent, so we are defining an intent here. So for that intent we are passing a data which is www.google.com and we are starting the activity. So where this implicit intent are used basically, here are some use cases where we are going to use implicit intents. So the first one is shared content. For that we are going to use action send function, and viewing some map we'll use action view, and for capturing an image using camera we'll use action underscore image underscore capture. So now we'll be moving with some real life examples and we'll let the know how the intent works. So firstly, we'll go with the theoretical discussion and later on we'll go with the practical implementation. So the first example, which is open dialer. As we have seen in the flow diagram, first we need to define an intent. So what is the work we are going to do here? We are going to call a number. So for that we are using action underscore dial, which is a keyword. In Android, it tells I want to open a dialer. And later on, intent dot data is equals to URI dot parse, and there I am giving a telephone number. So which means we are going to pass a telephone number in the URI format. URI stands for Uniform Resource Identifier format. So when this code runs, the phone dialer app opens with the provided number above, and the user must press the call button to actually place the call. Here what we are doing, here just we are opening the dialer app. We are not actually making the call. So no special permission is needed for that because the app is not directly calling, just opening the dialer. See, in real life cases, if your app shows a contact list or a customer support section, tapping on a number can launch the dialer instantly. So that is an example one, and later on we'll be I'll be showing you how the output would be. So here in the first activity we'll be having a button. So when I press on the button, call 9876543210, then the screen changes from first activity to the second activity. So the second activity is the dialer. So in this way the explicit intent works. And the example two, opening a camera. While intent is equals to intent, so this media store dot action underscore image underscore capture, it is a predefined action for opening a camera app. So when this code executes, the device's fault camera app opens. So the user can capture a photo. So if you want to receive the photo back in your app, you need to use start activity for result, so that the taken photo will be again stored in the place, or the newer activity you can use APIs. In real life, any app that need images, like in WhatsApp we'll be using some profile pictures, and in social media like Instagram we post something and some product photos, so they can launch the built-in camera instead of building a camera system from scratch. So let me show you a output file how it would be. So the first screen would be an normal button. So when we click on the button, a second activity opens with the built-in camera. So in this way, the camera is open. And the third example, we go with opening of maps. So for example, if I want to view a Eiffel Tower in a map, so first I will declare an action view because I need to see, I want to view something. And later on, for that intent, I need to give some data so that the map would get the location. So here what I have done, uri.parse geo colon 0 comma 0. So it creates a geological location query for Google Maps or any other installed maps. So geo colon 0 comma 0 question mark q, which means we are going to search for a place. And here I have mentioned the place, which is the place Eiffel Tower, comma Paris. So the Eiffel Tower is located in the Paris. So I have given the location. So with this when the code is executed, Google Maps automatically opens and shows the Eiffel Tower's location. Or else instead of this format, we can use latitude and longitude also. Instead of 0, comma 0, we can place the latitude and longitude. In real life, if your app lists shops, restaurants, or event venues, you can allow users to open the location in Google Maps when we click on it. So let me show you an output example how that would be. So that first activity would be a normal button. So when I click on the button, a second activity will open, which is in Google Maps. So these are different types of applications. So for external type of communication, we use implicit intent. So in this way, the implicit intent works. So now we'll move with the practical. So, friends, in this practical explanation, we will see all the examples which we have discussed. So, the first one is dialing. Second one is capturing an image using camera, and the third one is locating an Eiffel Tower. So I have just created a small wireframe. So the first activity would be a screen consisting of three buttons. First one is calling, second one is capturing an image, and the third one is locating an Eiffel Tower. So for that, just I have written a small XML file uh, for these three buttons. So later on in the manifest file, I have given some permissions. So as we can see here, so the first permission is for using the dial pad, and the second permission for camera access, and the location I have given it automatically. So here the hardware we have mentioned to avoid small warnings, and in main activity file we can see that for the button, if I'm going to click it, so setting it on click listener, so I have created an intent where action dial. So I'm dialing to the number which I have mentioned here. And the second one for the capturing image, I have used the same functions action underscore image underscore capture. And for the third one, I have used the same things. So let's run this code and open it in an emulator. So as we can see here in the mobile, we can see the first activity. So when I click on to the call, it automatically redirects to the dial pad. So just this is a small example. And the second one, let me show you. Here capturing image. Since I don't have any camera to the phone, so I can't access this one. And to locate the Eiffel Tower, we need to download Google Maps from the Play Store. Since we don't have any Google Maps in this mobile, so we can see here that Google Maps is not installed. So this is just a small warning. So when we install and run this, Google Map opens and then we can see the Eiffel Tower location. So in this way, the practical things work. So, by the end of this topic, we have learned what is an intent, how an intent works, and what are the external examples like dialing a number, using a camera, and how to use location in Google Maps. So, with this, I conclude by saying that intents are the crucial components in an Android application system. Thank you.